It's Complicated is one of my favorite channels on YouTube. This dude always asks the best questions. He asks the questions that get past that surface level answer and gets deeper down into those politically incorrect answers that we all want to hear that are closer to the truth. Masculinity is utility. As a man, I love being useful, but I guess there's a difference between being useful and being used. There is a difference.
Men are seen in utilitarian terms. We have the same rules set up for men that they've always lived by.
Right.
That you need to protect and provide at any cost. But we've changed everything where it concerns women. And they are living by an entirely different set of rules.
Yeah. True.
Why are there so many women today who say they don't need a man?
Because men act like women half of the time these days.
Because modern women don't prioritize family, they prioritize happiness and living a life of luxury. Women have always worked, they've been nurses, they've been in customer service, they've been teachers, they've even been female business owners like Madam C.J. Walker. But in the past, women prioritized family and they understood if they wanted to have a family, they had to have a man. And not just any man, a man of good character that would actually stick around and be a good father for kids. Because a father is the most important aspect of a child's life, and women understood that. And because they wanted families, they knew they needed men.
Men are supposed to be like the protectors and like the providers. So, and if men are now looking at us being like, oh, you can protect and provide for yourself, then I'm like, why do I need you here?
Does the fact that women no longer need men mean that the main reason women were with men was because they had to be?
No, I think that we all want a human connection. It's just if you're not able to offer enough for us or give 50-50, and most men are emotionally unavailable now, so we don't want it.
Men believe in 50-50 now, and they don't believe in providing as much as they used to, or it's not the same as back in the day. It's completely different from like the 1950s and the early, those kind of times. But now it's just like men earn just as much as money as women, and women earn just as much as men. And so at this point, we can all provide.
I think that it's crazy that women don't understand that they are the ones that ask for equality. And if you want equality and you make just as much as men, why wouldn't you want to contribute to the life that y'all are going to build together? It just doesn't make any sense. If you're working but not contributing, what's the point of working? Just for yourself? Then that's just selfish.
Wouldn't that prove that men were often seen as a utility to be used?
Yeah.
Still are.
So aren't men better off without women if that's the main reason women would want to be with men?
But that's the problem. Women say they're better off. Men never say that.
Men have run out of reasons to try, because for the bulk of a man in any stage of his life, he's always had to try to impress the woman or try to keep her attention.
Right.
But when that doesn't work anymore, he'd rather be alone or be with his boys or do something that's going to better him.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys are just starting to feel like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. They're expected to work harder than ever, make $100,000 a year for what? Just to get a woman who had a hoe phase?
If women no longer need men, why do they still seek men who have more resources, now even more than they ever did before?
Because their wants and needs have escalated, not just because of the economy, but just because of social media. You have all these people all these celebrities that you see, drive supercars and fly on private jets and go on trips every week. But realistically, they're not, and most of it is made up.
Right.
Should a man be expected to love a woman for who she is?
Yes.
If a woman only loves a man for what he provides?
I mean, essentially men only love women for what they provide, their bodies, and being able to, care for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wouldn't you say it's a double standard?
No, because the man is still loving you for you. If the man loves you for your body, quote unquote, he's still loving you for you.
They're giving a lot of their bodies and different things to men without getting nothing but sometimes divorce in return, and then they have nothing. So a lot of women are kind of doubling down and making sure.
Yeah, and that's all feminist fear-mongering propaganda. The women are the ones that are filing for divorce at a 75% rate. Men aren't the ones leaving their marriages, women are.
Are women giving their bodies to men, or are they sharing their bodies with men?
You better ask these deep questions. I do still think that women, when they give their bodies up, it's still giving. It's still, I don't know, a privilege. Yeah, a privilege.
Isn't sex something that's shared while money is something that's taken?
Ooh, I think both things can be shared.
Right. Yeah,
I think both
agree.
sex and money can be shared. It just depends on if you're rocking with the right person.
Why is it that in the age of independent women, a man's value is often determined by what he provides?
And why is a woman's value determined by her sex, her looks, her body, and nothing her brain, nothing intellectual, but just physical appearance?
Women want money, and I feel like women, they're trying to sell anything for money, which is right between their legs.
Yeah, sad.
Women do feel we are the prize, you know, and so at the end of the day, we do want to know what a man can provide, because we're supposed to be in our feminine. Women are not supposed to be masculine, and a lot of women are in their masculine era if they're independent, usually because they don't have somebody that allows them to drop those walls. And unfortunately nowadays that comes with what you can do.
Why is anything women don't want to do labeled masculinity?
I think that deep down, a lot of women don't want to have to work and they want to feel like they can be provided for.
Why is that?
I think that at the end of the day, a lot of us still want to be able to be mothers or be at home with our children, and also just like gallivant and have some fun with our husbands.
To be very truthful, if I'm gonna be with somebody and it's a trash environment now, I might as well go with somebody that I'm gonna gain something with.
Why is women's empowerment all about liberation and choice, while men's empowerment is all about masculinity, duty, and sacrifice, which is actually the opposite of liberation and choice?
I don't know why it is like that. I mean, us men, we probably only thing we can offer is money. That's what it seems like to a woman, or maybe our masculinity, meaning that we have to work out. Now it's like if you're not working out, a woman is not even, if you don't have no money, you're not working out, women don't even like you no more.
Which is crazy. It damn near feel like it's anti-human. Like, you go into these cities and like there's some guy that makes this shitty software that keeps you on YouTube for like 2 minutes longer so they can slang ads to you, and they just give him $250,000, and somehow he's seen as like a valuable person to society and he's rewarded by women. And I just don't understand. Like, the guy who's a football coach who dedicates his life to changing the minds of little boys, and I say a football coach because these are my coaches were the ones that influenced me as a man growing up. So like the guys who are just taking those jobs that are made from passion where you only get paid $40,000 a year, they don't deserve love. Those aren't the people that are contributing to society more than the people who just make a shitty software that makes $250,000 a year. It's sad to see, because a lot of the jobs that actually bring people happiness, like all the coaches that I've had were always happy, like teachers, all those types of people, those jobs are just so devalued because everything is about the dollar amount that a person's making instead of about the change or the effect that they're having on their community. The football coach who makes $40,000 doing what he loves and having an effect on kids' lives is far more important than the guy in the city that's making $250,000 for a shitty software. It's like, where's the humanity? It's not all about money.
What's the difference between masculinity and utility?
Well, masculinity, I don't even think they feel like they need that, because the ugliest guy with money is getting the girl. So,
well, isn't money still a utility?
It's still a utility. They got to pay bills, and a lot of women need the bills paid.
I think it's all like primal and innate. I think for a long time men always sacrificed themselves for women, and women, they just care about their body and their views, and they're not like, they were always the gatherers, they weren't ever the hunters. So
how can what empowers one gender be the opposite of what empowers the other?
It's not always that way. When women have a sense of duty and they prioritize family, they also make a lot of sacrifices too.
I think just because there's two different sets of chromosomes when it comes down to making people. I mean, you're talking about two completely different DNA chains and two different innate primal responses to nature and everything around them.
Why are men expected to double and triple down on their gender role when women have been liberated from theirs?
That's a good question.
It is true. I do feel like for women it's easier to have a choice now, to take on the masculine side if you want. It's celebrated and encouraged now, but also it's okay if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And you just want to embrace the traditional feminine role. I don't know.
I actually don't think it's okay if you don't want to. I think women are the biggest misogynists, and you will get a lot of hate as a woman who decides that she just wants a family. Not only will they try to give you hate, but they'll also fearmonger you and try to make it seem like your husband doesn't love you. You've never heard a man belittle or insult a woman for being a great wife. That's something that feminists do. Feminists are the biggest misogynists because they only value women when women behave like men. A woman nurturing life that she created is doing something way more important than any shitty software that a feminist could make in an office job. And her willingness to trust her husband isn't stupidity, it's virtue.
Because men also like to take care of women, okay? So they got to act tough. Like I said, you can't cry. You got to double down, triple down on masculinity so you can... that one's a tough question, honestly. I can't get through that one.
Well, I mean, if men aren't going to stand by and, change the world, why would nothing's, we're going to go to where we've been going the past few years. I mean, men have to, double and triple down. Otherwise, we're going to fall into sin and fall to the wayside like all these other nations that are crumbling right now.
Yeah.
We pay the bills, we buy the gifts, we take care of holidays, we take care of everything. And that's because we're men. And anytime that we try to voice our opinion about like, oh, we're men, we pay all the bills, we do all of this stuff, the women get mad. Like, you're supposed to do that.
Yep.
And it's almost twisted, because it's like, why do women feel as if it's mandatory for us to do that and they don't have to do their job, And I feel like the job for a woman is just taking care of the home, and, they could work and pay bills if they would like, but since when was it just 100% on the man?
Because it is mandatory for us to do what we're supposed to do, but it's also mandatory for us to pick the people that we're willing to sacrifice for. Like I said before, it's great to want to be useful as a man, but you have to understand when you're being useful and when you're being used. There are a lot of dudes that allow themselves to be taken advantage of because sometimes they believe that they don't deserve anything for their efforts. You deserve and you should demand respect for your sacrifices, just like anybody else.
Why was there a men's liberation movement during the 1970s? What do you think men needed to be liberated from?
The wars. I mean, we were thrusted into a bunch of wars and stuff, and we were kind of put on the back burner and thought we were only good for defending the country. We needed to, come back and be men again and take back the households.
The movement's goals were to challenge traditional male roles and gender expectations and to free men from the constraints society placed on them. Why do we complain about how men are treated and have harder lives at the same time we're advocating for men to be in roles that oppress them?
I think that there's just a lot of soft men out there, honestly. A lot of men that were raised by single moms and they don't know what it takes to be a man.
You're the man, you got to pay the bills. You're the man, you got to do this. You got to provide, you got to be the provider. So by us having strength, we could do everything differently. Like, for instance, I moved my whole house into a new place over the weekend, and I didn't have any help. It was just me. My wife was upstairs. And that's just because I'm the man, and I feel like that was my job to do that.
Doesn't strength actually work against men?
I mean, I guess it would work against men in the fact that we have to be out on the front lines, but like that's our job, We're supposed to be protectors and protect everybody else. So it's a double-edged sword, but that comes with the responsibility.
The responsibility of demanding that you get compensation for you doing your job.
Who hired men to do that job?
God.
What if you're not religious?
Then your biological DNA hired you to do that. I mean, if you don't want to go into religion, you can go into science.
Right.
Well, if women put a price on their sexuality, why don't men put a price on their utility?
They should.
Do. They require you to have sex with them, cook and clean. That's a price.
They should.
I mean, I think we do in a certain sense. When it comes to picking a life partner, I feel like we definitely do.
If men are obligated to protect women because they're physically stronger, why aren't women obligated to be sex slaves to men because they have more sex appeal?
I don't think that women should be obligated to be sex slaves.
So then why should men be obligated to be any kind of slaves?
I feel like if you're going to be a man, that you have an obligation to serve and protect those around you, including women.
Right.
But women need to be a lot more, they need to be the soft hand that a man comes home to after a long day.
Yeah.
Why don't we get to tell women, well, your job is to cook, clean, and make sandwiches because you're women?
Well, I think
yeah, that's what you say when you're based. That's what I say. I know they call me a misogynist for it or whatever, but I have a lot of women in my life that I love because they reciprocate the value that I give to them, and I appreciate them for that. So, but yeah, as a man, you should have demands. The world is a hard place, and if people feel like they can take advantage of you, they will.
When back in the 50s and the 60s, I feel like that's really what it was when it came to a wife, but I don't know. It's just a little bit different.
Why is it that a woman can be whatever she wants, but a man is clearly defined?
Because men are necessary for survival. Men have to protect and provide in order for humanity to survive. So men can't slack on their job or you literally don't have a country. Masculinity is necessary for survival. And that's why when women got to go into the workforce and provide for themselves, they have to become more masculine because masculinity is necessary for survival. There's nothing wrong with women working. Women have always worked. When people talk about women not working and just being housewives, they're talking about a very robust time in America that lasted for like 20 years. Outside of that, women have always worked. They just work worked with the mentality of helping out their families instead of working with the mentality of just helping out themselves?
I don't know. I think it's just because we're living in a political world, unfortunately, and it's extremely sexist. So when it comes to the way that women believe and the way that us men, we believe, it's not really much that us men we can get away with, but there's a lot that women can get away with. And I think it's because they got boobs and they got an ass, like, and I don't think like us men, like we don't have those things. Like we, you know what I mean? Like women have stuff that people are easily attracted to, so they can get away with a lot of things. But men, we can't. You know, we can't just take a vacation and say, I don't want to pay bills today.
Yeah, well, it's because women have children, so their utility is literally built inside of them. Women could live their whole lives just lollygagging, but then at the end of it, if they have kids, they're going to have a sense of fulfillment. So their utility is kind of built in. Because men don't have that, we have to prove our utility. We have to work hard. We have to be productive. We have to go out and find our passion and thing that's going to give us fulfillment in life. Women already have the utility mechanism built in because they can have kids, and that's one of the most valuable things. And I know a lot of feminists don't want to hear that, but being a mother is much more important and much more useful to society than working at Burger King.
All right, I don't want to go to work today. We can't.
What's the difference between feminist women shaming men for being toxically masculine versus traditional women shaming men for not being masculine enough?
I really don't think there's like much of a difference in either. It sounds like both kind of have like maybe a little bit of like bigotry on both sides.
Don't women define masculinity based on what benefits them?
No, I define masculinity on like what I personally think like a man is. You know, you're strong, like you're a leader, you're a provider. Like that is what I see. It's not just like attractiveness and all of this.
Man, don't no real man care about what a woman think a real man is or what a real man should be. All women know that. Anytime a woman is trying to tell you what a real man is, it's a manipulation tactic. It's a manipulation tactic that only works on weak men because real men do not care about what women think about real men.
I mean, isn't that also the same thing that benefit men?
My perfect man is a mix of masculinity and femininity, so I feel like you shouldn't shame somebody for being one or the other. There's no perfect mix.
Don't women define masculinity based on what benefits them?
Probably yes.
Usually.
Why is that?
Because we're looking for certain, the problem with most women is that we're looking for certain ticks to be marked whenever we're looking at men in the beginning.
Some of the stuff, I don't like that men act like we're passive in this, as if we can't have expectations for women also. We have to just stop dating these women that don't meet our expectations. If you desire family, then you should want a woman that prioritizes family. If she doesn't prioritize family, don't date her, don't sleep with her, ignore her, get rid of them, get away from them. We're not passive in this. You don't have to be desperate and take anything that comes along your way. Wait for the right woman who aligns with your values. Men can do that. The problem is some dudes be acting desperate for relationships with women that aren't even good for them.
Why is that?
Well, whenever you're looking at somebody that you want to date, you're like subconsciously going through a list of checking things off like that they can provide for you. And we probably shouldn't do that, but it usually happens.
Why do women often choose to make lists of what they want in a relationship rather than what they bring to the table?
I think that you can do both, but I think that you just want to make sure that he's bringing enough for you before you get into it. And it could be because you've been with, honestly, like a loser in the past.
Why has religion been imposed as part of the men's masculinity movement, and what is the connection?
Read the Bible and you'll see what what God's plan was for man and how we should choose a partner and be as a person and raise a family.
Doesn't that give them a license to condemn masculinity if it doesn't fit their definition?
I mean, I guess it could, but there's a lot of religions that are way worse. And, you got Christianity, I think I'm a Christian, so I feel like Christianity is definitely the one true way. But there's a lot of other religions that, treat women like second-class citizens. So pick your religion like you pick what you're going to wear out that day.
Part of the reason why I think it's actually aligned is because not only does it tell you what you should do for the woman that you love, but it also tells you what you should expect from the woman you love. Proverbs 21:19. It is better to live alone in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining woman. I think that that's the type of stuff that men need to hear. The problem is in modern Christianity, they only focus on the duties that men are supposed to do for women, and they don't tell women what they should be doing for men, and they don't tell men what they should expect from the women that they're doing things for. But again, like he said, if you read it, especially Proverbs, it tells you a lot of what you need to hear.
If it's not right to dictate religion to people, why is it right to dictate masculinity?
It's right to dictate religion to people. That's what God wants you to do, is go out and spread his word.
So then how would you feel if people were imposing Sharia law on Christians?
I mean, I don't agree with that, but like they have every right to do that, just like I have every right to go out and protest my faith in the Bible. I mean, there's a little bit different between Christianity and Sharia law, but you know, if people want to do that, you know, we're protected, especially in the United States, under the First Amendment. So,
for me personally, I dictate masculinity because femininity is just dictated onto me. You expect me to cook and clean. You expect me to look pretty and take care of everything at home. So why can I not expect for my man to do his man roles that he's expecting of me?
But aren't men labeled misogynists and sexist when they dictate femininity to women?
But I feel like women are seen as sexist and feminist when we do the same thing back.
If being a masculine man means accepting the burden of others, why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
I don't know why you would want to be a man by that definition,
because it's high risk, high reward, nigga. Testosterone rules. Stop buying shit you don't even use. Get out of debt and live a peaceful life. Read, study art, study history, but don't just be a debt slave. I'd rather live a modest life where I actually have my time. If a man doesn't own his time, he doesn't own anything. You rebel as a man by refusing to feed the system. Being a man is great if you take on your responsibility.
I don't think taking care of a woman and providing for her would be a burden. But it's the same way with women. Like, if we want to cook for our man, if we want to have their children and raise them while you go and make money and provide for us, then that's not a burden to you.
Yeah.
It's just what you bring to the table.
Why would anyone want to be a man?
Nobody would want to. Nobody would want to. I have 4 brothers, 4 black brothers, so I understand how that feels to be a man in today's society. It's a struggle on both ends.
So what's the difference between masculinity and utility?
There really isn't.
Why would anyone want to be a man by that definition?
I think a lot of people, some men don't. Some men don't want to be men. That's the reason why we have people that want to be women. We have, people that are gay. We have all these different type of people in this world that don't necessarily want to be a man because they probably feel as if me as a man, like I have to do so much and so this and that, and I just want to be more free. So they feel as if like the woman has the easier route, which I don't necessarily agree on that. I feel like we all do what we can, but there's some men that do get abused in that situation.
Well, why would you have to be a woman or gay? Why can't you just be a liberated, straight, heterosexual man?
I mean, that would be great, but unfortunately we live in a political world where people are so against what you believe or what you do.
I don't know if anybody wants to be a man. They even did a study. A girl tried to be a man and she wanted to commit suicide afterwards. It's not easy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Being a man is tough. Being a man is essential. Being a man is what built the country.
Right.
And honestly, if anyone's strong, you see all these guys, they go to the gym, they run every day, or they work out, or they have tough jobs, it's because they choose that.
Right.
So when they've put their time and effort in it for it, they do it for a reason. And half the time, it's because they need to. The other half the time, it's because they want to.
If being masculine is a natural process, why are men often shamed to be sculpted that way?
I don't think it's a natural process. I think it's a norm that is forced on society due to rules and manifestations that have been put into place for decades, maybe even centuries. It goes down to even when boys are crying when they're young and they're yelled at for, stop crying, you're acting like a girl, or get up, dust it off, you're just a guy. It's things that's implemented. It's not something that was given to you at birth.
What's the difference between a feminist defining a real man versus the masculinity movement defining a real man? What gives either one the right to define manhood?
Neither of them have the right to define manhood because everybody is going to think about it on a different spectrum. But a feminist defining masculinity is probably going to be people that will give a woman more quote-unquote freedom, and then masculinity, people who are fighting for masculinity are going to want to be providers, want a woman who's probably more like a housewife, I feel like.
Not right to dictate religion to people. Why is it right to dictate masculinity?
It's not. I don't think either's right to dictate, to be honest with you.
So if you're dictating masculinity through your own religious beliefs, how is that not a violation of our First Amendment rights?
It might be a violation of our First Amendment rights. Who writes your questions? That's the real question. This is great.
Why were the tradcons never an issue when it came to women's liberation, but they are when it comes to men's liberation?
I feel like, especially nowadays, men's liberation is a lot different than what it used to be. Now, men's liberation is, you know, if I feel like a woman, I can be a woman, or, you know, I feel like a cat, I can be a cat. The liberation is different. We used to fight in wars, now we're using urinals and bathrooms. So I feel like there's a lot of pushback now from tradcons than there was back in the day.
Doesn't that prove that tradcons catered to feminism and allowed it to get worse?
You're supposed to love women. I mean, you're supposed to nurture for them and care for them. So in a sense, yeah, you kind of got to go towards feminism at some points, but when it comes to, you know, what's going on in the world today, I feel like they got it right. So
that's the issue that we have with conservatives, though. They treat manosphere people like outcasts because they still want to pander to their female audience for votes. And conservatives know the issues, but even when they get into power, they refuse to do anything about the family court laws or the divorce laws. My issue is, if you claim to be conservative and you're not fighting for the traditional nuclear family, what exactly are you conserving? But I am starting to see this change a little bit, and I'm hoping that there's going to be some progress made, because we need to start prioritizing and bringing back the nuclear family.
Why are they now fighting against the men who are trying to make the conditions better?
Yeah, yep, that's a good question.
I don't know if they're trying to make conditions better. I feel like there's a lot of people that have a really warped sense of what the world used to be and what the world needs to be. So there's always going to be a power play there, and I'm just one person, but, you know, I do what I can.
Men are socialized to put their necks on the chopping block, to expose themselves to elements, to take on dangerous jobs, to work on crab boats, to drive trucks, to do any number of really, really dangerous things in order to provide for people that they care about. We have the same rules set up for men that they've always lived by, that you need to protect and provide at any cost. It's the old standard of women and children first.
Yep.
It is still men carrying the lion's share. And it is still the expectation that if somebody's going to go down with the ship, it's going to be men.
Yep. And because of that, it's our duty as men to get the ship back on course, because we're the only ones that can do it. Choose your peace and freedom over buying pointless shit, and everything will get right back on track. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or L, and give me the HBO special as a help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.